Hello, hello. How is everyone? This is my favorite time, early morning. And the whole world is asleep, at least on my side of the world. How is everybody? I hope today you are finding yourself in the idea of a brand new day. It's what I've been telling myself. Each day is a brand new day, an opportunity to do something different, move out of the past, be here in the present, but be planning for the future, be planning for the future. Oh, oh. The future is, the future is ahead of us, and the past, like a cliche, is behind us. And we need to focus on moving in a new direction. I haven't spoke to anybody who has been happy about anything. It doesn't matter what side of the fence or the globe or the state or the country, wherever you are. All you got to do is turn on world news and see that we're all in the same boat together. And, we all can't make amends for the past, okay? Like, there's some things that the time has passed on those things. But what we can do is we can work towards a future where our amends are in our future acts and not in dwelling in the past. And I just feel like that's something that's really been haunting me, If you know my story, and if you don't, I'm sure you will over time. But, why do I end up in the situations I end up in? And, I'm learning it's because I live in the past. I've been traumatized by my past, as all of us have. And there becomes a time when we need to move forward. And the time is always now. I mean, you'll hear everybody, every prophesizer, every psychic, every empowerment coach, every astrologist, gosh, every guru will all say, the time is now, the time is now. The time is now because every moment you are creating your future. And with your thoughts, with your deeds, with what you watch on television. I mean, I remember when Wayne Dyer told me that, I just had my son and I was watching, like the rest of the United States, a lot of, not very good television. And Wayne Dyer said in one of his PBS talks that before a child is like 3 or 4, they watch like this many stabbings and death. And he just listed off all these things. And I was like shocked. I was like, wow, where are these kids seeing these things at this young age? Like, I was like either naive or like whatever, And locked in my own world, I guess. And then he said the key word, on television, because we put our children in front of the television and they see things that are a blink of an eye to us because we're adults, but to children. And I was like, oh my God. And at that time I was watching a lot of criminal intent television, and I stopped right away. I stopped and I was like, oh my gosh, I am I am programming my own life by what I saw. And, I could go into all kinds of stories about how I kind of have a scientist mind, and I like to put things into practice to see if they actually work. What's it going to hurt to try? If they help, even if it's a placebo, it helped. And if it doesn't, then, it works for someone else, but it doesn't work for me. So I go on to the next thing. And, I saw things on television, and then I'd watch the news, and then they'd be happening in the news, and they'd call them copycat. Well, yeah, they're a copycat because you showed them exactly how to do it. You programmed them and went, hey, want to steal this? This is how this guy did it. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably getting off topic, but, I think, we're programming ourselves. That's why they call it a program on television. God, that's old news. Propaganda. Programming. Depends on what dictionary you look at or what website anymore. But I really feel like Spirit is like calling us to be present in the moment, look at our lives, and evaluate what we want to change now. And this will constantly be changing. Constantly. And it'll be constantly changing because as you grow, as you should, as we all should, take a sip of coffee here. As we all grow, then our perception changes, and we can look at things and go, oh, what was appropriate then might not be appropriate now for me as a person as I grow. I talked to a lot of mothers, but I was someone who loved horror movies. I loved them. I grew up with Saturday was all day horror movies. And once I had my son, I couldn't think of anybody. Wow, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. I couldn't think of anybody harming my son like that, let alone harming anybody else. And I stopped watching it because Wayne Dyer was like, hey, what you watch, kind of like, Bob Proctor, what you think about, you bring about. Well, what you watch, you project that back. And wow, that's not the world I wanted to live in, It's not the world I wanted to create with my thoughts and with my deeds. And man, I had to reprogram myself and grow. And things that were appropriate at one point became not appropriate. Things that were satisfying at one point became not so satisfying. Early morning, tears with sweet Justine. I'm in this with you. I'm not above you. I am in this roller coaster with you. I seek guidance for all of us, not just myself, but, sometimes it seems like everybody else in the world they'd love that ride. Whew, the adrenaline rush. I love the adrenaline rush of watching miracles happen. Watching people create things and have a life that they've dreamed of. That's what brings me pleasure, not watching other people in pain. And that's, Spirit right now is showing us a lot of pain. How quickly we forget that people just had their homes washed away. That right now in America, a right to vote for many will keep moving without their vote because of a natural disaster. Wow, that doesn't really seem fair, does it? How are they going to get to the voting polls? So people who aren't living their trauma are not going to be able to understand what they now might vote for, where they might have voted for one party before, they might change their mind now. See, that's the power in growth. That's the power in getting past the, I read cards different than most people. And this card, we're over the strife. But we got a lot of tears to cry because we got a lot of mess to clean up now. And we don't need a a new head honcho to do that. We need to do it in our own personal lives. We need to start cleaning up and helping those around us cleaning up, and that's through kindness, and that's through, a better understanding of our past so we don't repeat it, but also to move forward in a new direction, learning what we have from the past, because the past is what teaches us. That's why, this living in the now and, forgive. It's not our job to forgive. This is why this judgment card comes out. Life, karma judges. Karma judges. We don't have to judge. What we need to judge, if anything, is from our past. What are we going to do with our future? Are we going to come from a place of love? And that doesn't mean to accept bad behavior. That does not mean to accept bad behavior. That is what got us in this mess in the first place. It's about recognizing the chaos behind us. See all these flames here? Rising out of the chaos through our own personal judgment of, yes. And, you don't have to judge the person, but you can judge the behavior, the morals, the value, without attaching to a personal attack. Because trauma can put that face of that person on a lot of people. And some innocent, and some guilty, some guilty, some guilty, but also some innocent. And we need to, like this says, we've gone through a lot of heartache, and we still might. Lessons aren't always easy. I used to have a lot of my friends in my spiritual circle because, to them I was a very powerful creator. I am in my own right. And I'm blessed with manifesting a lot of things, whether they be in my best interest or not. That is yet to be seen, but always for my highest good of learning. And sometimes they'd say, why is the lesson so painful? Why do you make the lesson so painful? And I'd be like, I don't know. I think it's because I don't want to repeat it again, but then I seem to repeat it. So I think it's to pull back the layers of the trauma, have a new perspective, know that life is never this. We're in a 3-dimensional, whether you believe it's an organic planet floating around in space, if you believe that this is a simulated reality, if you believe this is purgatory, whatever your belief system is, whatever it is in this moment, it is, knock on wood, real. When you break your leg, it hurts. So for some people it hurts more, and other people it hurts less. But to whatever degree it hurts that person, and there are always going to be struggles here. You're going to have to get the wood in order to build the fire to keep warm. And you're going to have to keep your chimney taken care of so that it can do its job. I mean, really, life on earth is very simplistic. And it is true, humans complicate it. We do. But we also can change it. And that means, so when there's a natural disaster, we have learned from the past and we allow ourselves to just go back to our basic humanity, which are wanting to help each other. Not everybody wants to steal from everybody. You know why people want to steal? Because at some point in their life, they were told, for whatever reason, you can't have that. But they weren't shown a way to get it. Why do you think the blue jay steals? Not really. It's kind of a story. The blue jay does steal, just like the crows steal. Birds steal. Some things are pretty. Some things, I guess we could think of animalistic. If something's killed in the woods and a bigger predator comes, it might steal it from the one who killed it originally and leave it its bones. Ooh, damn. Yeah, I love my early mornings, but I get a little fire in me. We need to take some time to reflect. We need to really I know a lot of us have been doing it, but we need to, I keep hearing lay down our sword, stop being so defensive, stop taking things personal, except for your own lessons here. And then be true to your own self. If you say to yourself, I am not going to do that again, I'm not going to participate in that again. I know it is really hard because we all want to come from a place of love and forgiveness. But there's a reason why we started incarcerating people. The problem is we need to be better way showers. We need to teach out of love. We need to act out of love. We need to work out of love. Gosh, how hard is it? Very hard, I guess, but it needs not to be. And that's why you're hearing a lot of people say, the time is now for change, right now. It's because everybody can feel it. We're at that cusp of it's like Home Alone. That's what I just heard. It's like Home Alone. It's like, we've been left with the planet to do as we please for a very long time without any really disruption, whether it be of a natural universal source, a giant appearance from God himself, or an alien intervention, whether it be external or internal. It's been a long time, and we have not been very good stewards, not only of our brothers and sisters, but of ourselves. And regardless of what religion that you practice, or non-religion or non-belief, we are all in this together, but it all starts with us. It all starts with us. And that's what we've been, working towards the last 2 years. We have been looking at old lessons. We have been reviving new lessons. I don't know how many of you, including myself, have had people reach out from our past wanting to come into our present. And, the process is not right now because we have to take care of ourselves. We've got to place some judgment on our lives and what directions we're going. And, I want to also say that when we talk about full moon energy, that doesn't mean that just happens that day. Like, everybody needs to get out of being television minded, okay? And get back into nature. We are organic. That's why I do best in the early mornings when everything's quiet. I'm with my own clock, working my own clock. And the basics really are, love, growth, taking care of ourselves, taking care of others. It outreaches. When you take care of yourself, then you take care of others. We've been hearing that a lot. And the moon, when it is in a phase, it doesn't mean like a television show that when it's in a new phase, the old phase is like turned off. We are stellar, constant movement. So when I talk about full moon energy for me, for those that follow me and listen to, my Skywatch reports and podcasts, I just prepare you for the ride. And then we go on this ride until the next phase that really peaks. And the new moon, I try to make my life very simple right now. Full moons and new moons. Because I had the ability to go out and be on a farm, and the person that I was learning the farming under followed the moon, and amazing crops, amazing food, amazing lessons out in the soil. And so I really, for me, when I talk about the full moon, it's happening now. When I talk about that it was in Aries and there's tantrums, I have seen more kindergarten things in the last week than I have in a very long time, where I've been like, oh my gosh, look at us, making friends, not making friends, wanting to go out, not wanting to go out. I mean, boy, we're worse than a pinball in a pinball machine. I mean, boy, we are all bouncing around, and some were striking good and others were going down the hole, and we're not giving up till the fifth ball, and we're still going. Well, I hope that made sense to some of you, but it's just been like kindergarten. And I tried to go out twice, and even driving was like, wow, can we be grown-ups? Can we stop at the stop sign? Can we drive the speed limit? But we're all in this chaos, and we need to, as I saw another great creator, he had posted a Bob Newhart. I didn't get to look at it, but it was one that a site was familiar. Bob Newhart, please go check out his video. He's the comedian on Stop It. I've posted this before many times. Yes, that would be part of the reading assignment today and for the month of November, is to go watch Bob Newhart's Stop It. I think it was his Saturday Night Live skit. It might have been, I don't know. The message is more important than the messenger or where the message came from. So please check it out. And just stop it. And, the mermaid card for today is, or this new month that we're getting, the beginning month. I don't know how many readings you'll get out of me since I'm just experimenting again with doing these. Is fall back in love with your life and the people in your life and the things you love about your life. And, I just heard, if it's a bowl of SpaghettiOs, fall in love with the bowl of SpaghettiOs, and then add to that. And, if you love waking up next to the person that you're with, show them, don't take for granted anything. And don't, I hate to use that word. And I really don't. Look at me. I don't like using that word, don't, because then it snowballs into a don't, and the universe doesn't hear that. If you've watched The Secret, you will understand that. The past is there for us to learn from. If not, you'll keep repeating your mistakes. That is something that has been said for years and years and years. So, I would say November's forecast, because we're getting into winter, is about reflection, taking time to reflect on the past, and it's okay to make judgments and, not have people take them personal. And if they do, well, hey, that's on them, because really, as I'm learning and as I've learned through the deaths of others, you only take yourself with you when you go. So be true to yourself more than you're true to anybody else. Except your kids and your mom and your dad, because, at least in my life, those people are very important in my lessons. Even if some of them were very harsh and cold, they made me a very sweet Justine. So I appreciate even the bad lessons. So let's fall back in love with life, and let's take time in November to really, put down that sword. Take a reflection of where you are, where you want to be. The clouds are behind us, and there's, but the veil is lifting. Look at that. The veil is lifting. She's behind a veil, but look, it's lifting. The farther you get back, the less you can even see the veil, because the past is behind us. And, we really need to know that we're going to, it's a harder road when we carry the weight every day than it is to let the load go. So let's let that load go. I appreciate everybody, who stayed through for the whole reading. And, I know I rant a little, and I know I sometimes get emotional, but that's because I become an open channel. And, that's I wanted to see if the mermaids had any last thing, and they want to, really bring out that, yep, I'm a transparent person, and we all need to be transparent, in our lives. We need to be honest and authentic. We need to be genuine, and we need to be present. And, mermaid energy is about going deep into our emotions and stop living on the surface of things, and that's what November's about taking time to really become transparent with yourself and then with others, and not being ashamed of it. Be proud of who you are and who you're becoming. And who you are today might not be who you're going to be in a year from now or 2 years. I really say this often because I believe it and I understand it now, and I've quoted him before in this video. So Wayne Dyer, check him out too, his books, his videos, his work outlives him and will continue. But, his whole conception was, when he was asked about reincarnation once early on in his speaking, he said clearly, I don't know if I believe in reincarnation, but I know in this lifetime I have reincarnated myself many, many times. And I resonate with that, and I hope you do too. And have a happy end of October and beginning of November. And I'll check in with you soon again. And thanks again for spending a little time with me this morning, where I sip some coffee and listen to the sounds of the woods and the silence of my space.